guys, it is actually a bit of a anniversary, I guess you could say, for Azure Flame Tarot. The first video I uploaded for this channel was on the last Lion's Gate, so this is quite an interesting time for me. I have a whole bunch of information as usual before I get started about that. I'm going to try to say this as quickly as I can. It is a lot of information because a whole bunch of different things from different cultures are actually happening at once right now. Some of those things aren't necessarily related, but it's all kind of piling on to the energy, right? It's like a really well-baked cake. Eggs don't come from the same thing as like milk and flour, but when you put it together, it makes a heck of a cool thing. So that's kind of what the energy today is like. It's like one hell of a cool cake. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm going to explain a little bit about all the stuff that's going on. We talked about the heliacal rising of Sirius in the last time I did this video, and the Lion's Gate. I'm going to explain a little bit more about that because people think it's the same thing. It does coincide, and it has spiritually significant purposes that it coincides now, but they're actually not the same thing. And Sirius rising does not have anything to do with why the Lion's Gate is called the Lion's Gate, because Sirius has been rising long before it rose during the season of Leo. And I will explain more about that in just a moment. I will also, for those of you who just want to get to the reading, I understand where you're coming from. You might find this information very useful. I would suggest waiting around and giving it a go if you have the patience for it. If not, I will put a time stamp down in the comments for when I start drawing cards. I had to write down some notes for myself ahead of time because there was just so much information and I didn't want to forget anything. So let's begin. And also I wanted to mention that this whole concept that the Lion's Gate is a new age thing, and this terminology hasn't been around for a while. The concept of a portal, for the Lion's Gate portal and 8-8, the way that we are nowadays kind of in a syncretistic, eclectic way, bringing these different cultural things together, that's new. I'm not bothered by that. I'm very eclectic. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. That's fine. But the concept of a portal, while it is a kind of new metaphysical sounding word, it's been around forever, and it's basically just the period of time with some kind of astrological event. How long it takes the sun to go around the earth, or how long it takes for the appearance of the sun going around the earth from Earth's perspective. We go around the sun, but it appears to travel in our sky for us. And, you know, that's what astrology is based in. We also have, you know, portals of lunar cycles and things like that. And this portal for the Lion's Gate is from the new moon in Leo we just had to the full moon in Aquarius, the last super moon of the year that we're going to be having in 2022, by the way. So that's very significant for a lot of reasons. We've been entering the age of Aquarius for quite some time. Leo is the opposite of Aquarius. There's just a lot going on there energetically that's very significant. We call it a portal, and more evidence that the concept of an extended period of time and energy going into some kind of spiritually significant festival. Think of how Chinese New Year is celebrated for many days. Think of that old Christmas carol, the 12 Days of Christmas, right? I think Coptic and Eastern Orthodox Christians, if I'm correct about that, celebrate an extended Christmas season like that. We do. We look at things in terms of seasons, not just the day of. We look at things in terms of portals of energy. And for the Lion's Gate, it's that meeting of the sun and the moon, right? The dog is a very lunar symbol, very much associated with Artemis and Orion in Greek mythology. You know, Hecate, another lunar goddess, very much symbolic of that. And the lion is very much a solar symbol, right? So it's what's really significant about Sirius rising and the Lion's Gate happening at the same time is that beautiful meeting of the sun and moon, the luminaries. And then we also have the numerology of repeating numbers or master numbers, or what some call angel numbers, 88 and 2022, so that's 222. In Hebrew numerology, 22 is a master number. So 11 is that meeting of the individual with the creator. So spirituality, 2 becoming 1. 22 is the bringing of that combining of the individual with spirit and the combining of like human communities. So you get that structural 4 energy, very protective energy, very much meeting of the mundane and the sacred together to create something more spiritually aligned and powerful in your life. So, and here's where that terminology with Lionsgate is really coming from. So, according to certain archaeologists and people who do scientific dating, we've learned in recent years that the Sphinx is a lot older than we thought it was, and that the oldest temple on Earth actually goes back to 9,500 BCE, a temple called Göbekli Tepe, which is in southeastern Turkey. And there have been similar sites found in Morocco, northern Africa, and places near Egypt. And people think that because there were lion relief sculptures found in this temple, Göbekli Tepe, that the Sphinx may have come from the same people prior to the Egyptians, and that the lion goddesses, Bastet, Sekhmet, were really kind of brought over, and also Isis and the Auric cow gods and goddesses were probably brought over from this culture as well. We tend to think of time in a very linear fashion, and certainly physically it goes in a linear way. You don't go young again, you get old, you're born and you die. There's a linear thing going on, but sociological and cultural things that happen in human history, much like the seasons of the sun and the moon, kind of come and go in cycles, right? So, you know, the Mongolian Empire would expand into the southern regions, and then India would expand north into China, bringing its culture up northern. Egypt would expand its culture into Greece. Persia would expand its culture westward. And then during the Hellenistic period, Greece would share some of its culture going eastward and southern. You know, it's the cultural diffusion does not just go in one direction. It's something that goes back and forth. So it's possible that whatever religion, this lion worshipping religion that the people of Göbekli Tepe had, maybe that came from somewhere else before them, but the oldest temple we're aware of goes back to around 9,500 or 8,000 BC, somewhere in that ballpark. The Sphinx was dated to about 8,000 BC. So I'm going to put in some links for that too. I think you can find Smithsonian articles about this. This is not highly contentious information to scientists who know how to scientifically date these things. It did shake the anthropology world a bit. People are having a hard time coming to grips with it because we tend to think of the ancient period as that time where, you know, the vernal equinox starts in Aries, the age of empires starts, but cities were developing even before Mesopotamia, it turns out. It's just that they weren't as developed as Mesopotamia and Sumer and all of these other places we were more familiar with until recent years. So, with that being said, also around 10,000 BC, the vernal equinox would have started because of the precession of the equinoxes in the sign of Leo. And then later, we had we've had the ages of Leo, we've had the ages of Taurus, then we've had the ages of Aries, the age of Aries, and now we're heading towards the age of Aquarius because of the way the precession of the equinox goes. So yeah, around the time when this lion worship really started, probably would have been around the time the Sphinx was created during the age of Leo, when the vernal equinox was aligned with the constellation of Leo. So that being said, other places, and this is precipitated throughout history, you know, lions have been associated with pharaohs and kings. They became associated, you know, and it went on for ages. You know, even England had that concept of Richard the Lionheart. It just goes on and on. St. Stephen's Gate in Jerusalem is also called the Gate of the Tribes of Israel. It's also called the Lion's Gate. So because of the iconography on the gate, it's leading into the Muslim area. of Jerusalem, or was. And then there's also a lion gate entrance showing two lion-headed goddesses on the citadel of Mycenae from Bronze Age Greece around 1250 BC. So this, again, well before, the Greeks and Egyptians started more popularly and modern conception really interacting during that age of Cleopatra and whatnot, well before then. So you have these Egyptian-looking lion goddesses in Greece going back that far. So the Lion's Gate, it's a concept, and the reason why it's a gate is because it was the opening of the new year, right? The vernal equinox going back a very, very long time ago. We know that now with the evidence from the Temple of Göbekli Tepe. So with that out of the way, it's not a New Age thing at all. New Age people can sometimes misappropriate information, even if they have good intentions, and I understand why that can be frustrating, but at least they're bringing to light information that a lot of people in this very secular era have just kind of dismissed as not necessary or relevant to even think about. You know, the modern secular era has given us a lot of wonderful things. We don't have to worry about, leaders of the church cracking down on us and having legal authority to tell us what to do with our personal lives. There's a lot of really nice things that come with the secular age. However, we've really dismissed a lot of things, and New Agers get ridiculed a lot, but they bring to light some really important spiritual concepts and some really important information from history that when you dig into it a little bit, maybe they don't always get all the details right, but they give you somewhere to look where maybe you wouldn't have before. So I would say maybe we can take it a little easy on going too hard on the New Agers. They are often right about things that, hey, this is significant. When they say this is significant, they're often right, and when you look at it deeper, you can find more information. Another thing about the sign of Leo right now, you've heard something about 15 degrees of the sign of Leo. That's not necessarily the Lion's Gate. That has to do with the cross-quarter days in Germanic, Celtic, and Northern European cultures. So we talked during the Samhain or Halloween reading about how 15 degrees Scorpio is when the sun rises over the hill of Tara, the hill of the ancestors. And then, so the opposite of that would be Beltane, 15 degrees Taurus, Aquarius, 15 degrees Aquarius is Imbolc. And so now we're at 15 degrees Leo. That is actually astrological Lughnasadh or Lamas, or the bread harvesting and grain harvesting holiday. So that's what's significant about 15 degrees Leo. They wouldn't have considered it as Leo back in more ancient Celtic and Germanic cultures before integrating with the Greeks and Romans, but that's how we calculate it now, because it's just easier to do, because you can just easily see where the sun is located by doing it that way, instead of trying to find the exact date through some other way. So 15 degrees Leo is a cross-quarter day. So, and we call it cross-quarter because it's between the equinoxes and solstices. So, and then we also have on top of that, on top of the numerologically significant day, on top of the Lion's Gate, on top of the heliacal rising of Sirius, which does coincide with the 3 pyramids of Giza lining up with Orion's belt. Again, that's probably more significant to Anubis and the dog star Sirius than it was to the earlier lion goddesses, but they do happen to coincide around the same time now. We also have Ashura, which is it's kind of like an Islamic New Year. I think they actually celebrate something else as Islamic New Year, but it's the first month of their calendar. And it celebrates the parting of the Red Sea, Moses escaping the Pharaoh Ramses. And it's interesting because, right, the lions represent the Egyptians and the Romans at different points in history, right? So it's interesting that they're celebrating the parting of the Red Sea and Moses escaping. They're also mourning the death of the martyr, Muhammad's grandson. So that's going on there as well. Sirius rising, the Egyptians had many different calendars, just like the Mayans did. Sirius rising was one of their New Year's. It wasn't the only one that they had. You know, the Egyptian dynasties lasted for a very long time. That was one of their New Year's for a time. And I think I already mentioned that we have one other thing is that the last super full moon for this year, full moon in Aquarius, is happening on the 11th of this month. So we're getting the 8, 11, and 22 energy together. So that is very numerologically significant, as 11 and 22 are both master numbers in Hebrew numerology. And then in my location, it'll be happening at 9 p.m. So, and 9 is the last number in a cycle, because the master numbers put the two numbers side by side together. Normally, outside of the master numbers, you don't go to 10. 9 is the last, and then you start again at 0 or 1, right? So we have the number 9, completion of a cycle, right? Going on here, entering through the Lion's Gate, and leaving something like an old chapter behind, right? So there's something really, really significant about that numerologically as well. So a lot of notes there. I will go ahead and get started with the reading. Given all of that energy going on, I'm going to be focusing mostly on the Lion's Gate, the solar energy, and the lunar energy. That's what I do. I'm going to probably ask a little bit about, you know, I might take a few cards for Sirius rising as well. It's all happening at the same time. I kind of want to see how I want to word the question for this reading, but I think I'm going to do, these are kind of more lunar oriented cards. These ones are a little bit more star and solar. So we'll see how I want to do this. I think I'm going to just go ahead and ask first what the upcoming full moon in Aquarius is bringing in for this community. So we're going to just go ahead and shuffle these on camera. The priestess is showing up at the bottom there. Oh, come on. It's always like this. There we go. Ah, you know what? I'm going to take that. The wisdom teacher. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and see what else wants to come forward for the full moon in Aquarius for this spiritual community. Here we go. Spirit of Wands, that's the Ace of Wands. And I believe the wisdom teacher is the Hermit. Interestingly, not alone though for a Hermit. 7 of Swords. Ooh. I was seeing the Ace of Swords a lot this week as well. The Dream Protector. I'm actually called to take the top of the deck as well. Dreamer of Pentacles and Lady of Pentacles. Oh, so look at that. So I was talking about these like really kind of almost, not quite prehistoric, but very, very ancient cultures. So cultures that to what we normally consider the ancients were ancient to them. And then we've got the Venus statuettes showing up here. So we got the Lady of Pentacles. That feels a little significant too. Lady of Wands. So we've got the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, the Dreamer of Pentacles, that's the Page or Princess of Pentacles or Discs there. The Dream Protector is the Emperor, 7 of Swords, Spirit of Wands, and the Wisdom Teacher. I will bring that back of the deck under, well, let me see if I can, nope, I will just show that on camera in a little bit here. Let's see what is going on for, and I'm going to treat these as clarifying a little bit for a whole story here, but I'm also going to pull in some solar energies here. Let's see what is going on for the Lion's Gate for this spiritual community. Knight of Cups. For the Lion's Gate for this spiritual community. Ace of Wands, right under the Ace of Wands there. And for the Heliacal Rising of Sirius. This wants to come through, I think. Prince of Discs, that's interesting. And the Universe. Okay, I like that. And the Aeon, I'll take it. Okay, I will take it. And let's see. So I'm seeing that And again, with the number 9, how I was talking about it closing out an old cycle, I think this is talking about how the cycle is going to be closing out, right? And then with the aces coming up on the back of the deck, or the ladies, Dreamer of Pentacles, where was the ace? There was an ace of something. There was 2 aces of wands here. So, okay, an ending of something and then a beginning of something new, starting right away. Okay, and then we have more finishing with what is basically the Judgment card of the Thoth deck. It is kind of a reincarnation card for this deck, right after the universe or the world. So I find this interesting. So we've got the Knight of Cups. I'm almost seeing that as like this young boy who's with the Hermit here. And there's like this small mirror up in the moon up here. It's almost like there's this time of emotional reflection on maybe emotional immaturity and bringing maturity going into this new cycle, is what I feel like this is saying. And then with the Spirit of Wands showing up twice, we're seeing that I did like the moon and then the sun here. I'm seeing this is like a very masculine looking symbol, right? It's a bit phallic looking. Whereas the Spirit of Wands here is like, is this young lady. So I'm seeing like a real feminine and masculine energies, whether that's within yourself, within relationship dynamics, community dynamics, family dynamics. They're really coming into alignment here. They're really coming into alignment. I actually almost see this lady as being the same as the Hermit in this card, wearing the same cloak. And so we have like a young boy goes into a teenager, and then we get the Emperor right here. And then we get the Spirit or Ace, and then we get the Queens. Towards the end of it, we have a page or a princess, and then 2 queens. So I'm seeing a real maturity. So there's like an alignment of passion, a new zest for life, really, and fire is also very symbolic of spirit. We have Spirit of Wands there. So I think what we're seeing is the feminine and masculine elements and energies really kind of coming together, aligning, getting on the same page, sharing the same dream in some ways, right? And really wanting to resolve things. The Seven of Swords is usually kind of like, I see it as almost like a sneaky energy in the Rider-Waite and other decks, but in this one, this deck is very different. It's the Mystical Dream Tarot. And you see this grown man with a beard, right? You get the young boy, the teenager, the grown man. And you have just 1 sword here, not 7. And I think the 7 is 1, 2. So 7 phases of the moon between the new and the full moon. And we do have the full moon coming up. I almost feel like, again, we see the lunar cycle, and then we see the solar cycle with the world, right? That's very fascinating to me, because the world experiences its turning around the sun. So that's like a solar year. You have the 4 fixed signs, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, symbolizing the whole year. So we have the solar cycle completed and the lunar cycle completed. Again, the feminine and masculine energies really aligning here. And we have 1 singular sword, which I tend to see the Ace of Swords as like truth, right? Along with a cup. So I'm really seeing the masculine energy coming to a point where it's like it's been a long road, right? It's been a big hill to climb up. To find maybe the courage, since it is Leo season, to speak the truth about feelings, you know, really becoming in touch with the truth of how they feel about things. Because maybe for a lot of, you know, masculine people, whether they identify as men or not, but who just align with that masculine energy more, saying the truth about how you feel can be really scary if it's been something you're told you're not allowed to feel like that, you're not allowed to speak how you feel, you're going to get bullied, you're going to get told act more like a man, you're going to get told not to act like a sissy little girl, that kind of thing. And then you have right underneath that the Prince of Discs who's holding the world, and it's like this guy is like on this chariot, and he's saying, I'm not going to be told how to think and feel and how to live my life anymore. I'm not going to be bullied or cowed into not expressing my true self. You know, I have, you know, you have this like sovereign staff here. I'm sovereign over my own life, and he's nude. It's like I am allowed to be myself. I am allowed to take off all the masks, all the costumes, and just be who I really am. And then you get into this sovereignty here with the emperor, the dream protector. So really getting in touch with your true dreams, what you really desire in life, what's your truth, you know, not just what other people impose on you, what your plans should be, what you truly want for yourself, what you want in your heart and in your soul, not just what you think makes practical sense. And then the universe shows this lady, she has this Kundalini snake awakening. She's coming into alignment with her true self too. You know, what she really wants for her life. She's letting an old cycle of, I think, fear of really expressing her authentic passion and her light and her fire, her more masculine side. And she's just saying, nope, I'm nude too here. I'm not hiding myself anymore. So that's really beautiful. And then with the Eon, you get this more almost androgynous like being, combining that masculine and feminine energy with Thoth here. Just a rebirth for both of them, right? A whole new beginning. And then on the back of the deck, of course, we had with the other one, you know, the Venus, the Lady of Wands. Again, I'm seeing that as being very similar to this hermit and this spirit, except she's like cut her hair a bit. So she's like, you know how women will sometimes cut their hair when they're like getting rid of old energy and they're starting anew. She's coming into this goddess energy the same way he's coming into this emperor energy here. And we have the, interestingly, we have the rooster. I was trying not to say the other word. And the wolf and the Cancer, the crab. So the actual star Sirius is in the sign of Cancer. I explained in the last year's video for Lionsgate why that is, how that's calculated. Astrology King online does a really good job talking about that. So you have the white wolf, the black crab, so there's your Sirius, right? And we also have the, so the Chinese year of the rooster, the next one coming up, may be significant. Interestingly, we have all this blue here. I'm a water rooster for my year, so that's interesting to me because it feels pretty significant. And Cancer is significant in my chart as well. So there's some personal stuff there for me, but it might be a timing thing for this community too, right? So if you're, there are like different steps to your goals, right? So we get timing cards with the Moonology deck as well. We'll look at like the monthly timing of things, but in terms of years, if you're like, say you wanted to renovate your home or get a master's degree at college or something, that's going to take years. It's not going to be done in a couple of months. You might get like the financial aid, or you might be able to save up for it with months, but you're not going to finish those studies until a matter of years. So that's just one example. So the next year of the rooster may be significant for somebody. I think that's a while away. I think that's about 6 years away. So this might be for some younger people, or it could be like, you know, you feel like when your child's old enough that you can send them to college, now you'll have done something really important to them that you've been wanting to do for years. That, oh, maybe they're the first person in their family who's going to be able to go to college if you're an immigrant and you really want to do something special for your kids. So the year of the rooster may be significant for you in that way. Dreamer of Pentacles. So it's something very, it is spiritual. It feels like a mission in life, right? Because it has that pentacle energy, that fifth element, quintessence spirit, because of the 5 points of the pentacle. But it's also, and we have like the keyhole here. So it's like opening up a new gateway, right? Opening up a new door. But it's also very much, you know, Pentacles is earthly things as well. It's very much grounded, material, practical things. So it's closing out an old chapter. Maybe you've been wanting to move for some time, and Dreamer of Pentacles, maybe that's when you, I don't know, pay off a loan on a house. For some people who go that route, you know, that's, whatever that is significant for you, look into when that timing is going to make the most sense for you. So yeah, I like this. I'm getting that this is like I don't know why, but intuitively I'm reading this as almost like note music, like somebody might play flute or clarinet or violin or something, so that might be significant to somebody as well, or piano. And then I'm seeing this is like the lilies that you get in the Lenormand cards. So you may feel like you're coming into your energy after a long period of grief. So somebody very important to you may have died either recently or some time ago, and you feel like you're getting more in touch with that feminine energy of yours, that compassionate, nurturing side, and really helping yourself heal from that experience as well for some people in this community. And I'm seeing here, we have like this starlight energy, this fire here for her, and a solar disc on her head. It's like she's really aligning with the energies out in nature. So that might be something you might want to do before this portal ends on the 11th and 12th. Just get some time in nature and really meditate and really enjoy yourself. I'm loving the pink here. In another reading, the pink was significant for dreams for somebody, for a customer I did a reading for recently. So that might be significant to you as well. It's like really meditating on your dreams, your aspirations, what you really want for yourself in life. And from there, we're going to go ahead and do the Monology deck. I do have some oracle cards. My Biblio Nasty cards. You win, YouTube. They're Biblio Nasty now. That's the only word I can think of when I talk to myself about it. Oh my God. This always happens. Don't let your pride get in the way. Full moon in Leo. The South Node. Right. So that's another thing that's been significant during this last year, right? Is the South Node in Scorpio and North Node right underneath that in Taurus, right? So don't let that hold you back. Move forward. There's a Chariot right here into your future. So really that Scorpio energy, and that's going to be coming up in just a few short months, is really about clearing out negative behaviors. Your South Node also has some of your gifts from the past as well, right? So your ability to empower yourself, really not let yourself be taken for a nasty ride, see corruption. It's, you know, a matter of overcoming that, you know, the more toxic traits of that competitiveness, jealousy, paranoia. And you have to like tread carefully, because on the one hand, Scorpio is very intuitive, very good investigators. On the other hand, they can sometimes get mired in toxic things. It really just depends on how the energy is being expressed. With Leo here and Taurus here, and I'm really seeing this as very Aquarian, even though it shows all four. It's almost like, and the Aeon as well, I'm seeing is very Aquarian, a very Age of Aquarius type of imagery. I'm really seeing this as, again, we got that doorway here, that these old toxic cycles are coming to a close, and you're really driving forward into that North Node energy for yourself. Whatever your natal North Node is on a collective level, that's what the message is for all of us. And conclusions are within reach. I'm feeling like this is the timing card that's very significant going forward into the future. Also this, I think it's next July that the North and South Node shift into new signs. And then conclusions are within reach. So the next full moon eclipse may be significant for you as well. And right, we were just saying, like, we got the lunar cycles here, the world, the Aeon or judgment, this doorway. Yeah, definitely conclusions, ending of old cycles. That's definitely the overall message of this reading. So we're going to look at a few oracle cards really quick. And then we're going to finish this reading up, and hopefully it's not more than an hour long after my big speech at the beginning. So this is just, okay. These are very hard to shuffle. These are my hexagon cards. I might take those. Waning moon. So again, concluding, that's the ending of the lunar phase before the new moon. Conclusions. East. So the sun rises in the east, right? So that's a new dawn. So a beginning and then an ending and then a beginning, just like we saw in the other things, in the other cards. Let's see what comes up here. South, right over the South Node, middle. So it's right, it's finding that middle ground between your North and South Node, the lessons of your past, the gifts of your past, but letting go of that toxicity and going into the North Node, that there's some discomfort there. And it's really where your growth is, but you don't want to like completely abandon those gifts and lessons from your past either. So that's really nice. I like how all of these cards are really, really coming together, And that's why I say pray before reading. And here come my Biblionasty cards. I opened up to this. This may be significant to somebody. It's Glinda, not Glenda. May the wizard grant you a new brain. That's from the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the book. So if you feel like somebody is not respecting you, go ahead and stand up for yourself. That might be what helps you close out an old chapter. Okay, wow. You can draw water out of a water well, so I should think you could draw treacle out of a treacle well, eh? Stupid the Mad Hatter. Okay, so that's from Alice in Wonderland. Let's see. Springtime, the sunshine on the rain and the rain falling on the sunshine, and that's the Secret Garden. And one more. I think we're going to have... actually, this one wants to come out. It cannot be seen. Oh, gosh, this one always friggin' comes up. So that's The Hobbit. It cannot be seen, cannot be felt, cannot be heard, cannot be smelt. It lies behind stars and under hills and empty holes it fills. It comes first and follows after. Ends life, kills laughter, dark. So the riddles in the dark come a lot. And I'm going to actually pull one more from the bottom. She made herself stranger by fighting with the wind. Right. So the Secret Garden. And this was actually not an insult. So a lot of people might, in like this new age, say, oh, don't choose the path of least resistance. Choose what comes to you easy. Attract. Attracting is great and everything, but it's only one part of the equation. It actually is very valid to work hard for something. It really, really is. Yes, it's good to attract and not, make things harder for yourself all the time. But sometimes you really do need to fight for something. There are things worth fighting for in life. Leo definitely talks about that. Leo the lion. So I find, and that's interesting that that's coming right under springtime. The sun shining on the rain and the rain falling on the sunshine. So what are rain clouds? They receive the water that condensates, evaporates up from the oceans, from the water cycle and the water systems. It's a very receptive energy, and then it pours out just naturally. It doesn't have to struggle to do it. It just happens as a natural reaction of heat and cold. And then the ground, the earth, the feminine earth, takes in that water, right? So water and earth, very receptive energies. And then we have the sun, right? A very giving, also very directional energy, right? We mark our calendars by the sun and the moon, but especially by the sun for the year. It's having direction. It's having a plan. It's steering your own ship. It's taking action. It's steering your own chariot in this case. She made herself stranger by fighting with the wind coming over the Prince of Discs and saying that the sun and the rain kind of, together they make a rainbow, right? Those things coming together poetically as a synthesis of masculine and feminine energies. It is okay to fight for something. So if you've been in this law of attraction cycle and you feel like, oh, I'm not manifesting anything, it's because maybe you don't need to be working on manifesting right now. Maybe you need to be working on doing. Lughnasadh actually is I will go into this actually, a very important time for harvesting and reaping what you sow. That is a receptive energy, but you have to actually do the work of harvesting. And you have to do the work of reaping as well in order to sow something. On an individual level, there are people who are reaping wonderful rewards for the things that they've sown. On a collective level, I think it's fair to say that the past couple of years have shown that we are collectively reaping the seeds that were sown that were kind of toxic, right? Babylon tree bears no fruit, right? We've had a very corrupt system for some time. This is not news to anybody. Whatever side of whatever fence you're on about a number of things, I think it's fairly obvious to see that economic systems, law enforcement systems, a whole bunch of things have been corrupted for quite some time. And we are seeing a lot of massive scale suffering. There are people who say, oh, if you look at that and you acknowledge that you're in a mentality of lack. Actually, that's just called being realistic. You can say to yourself, there's these bad things going on and I'm still going to work hard to make things right for myself, and I'm still going to pray and believe in miracles and pull in good things and manifest and attract good things. You can definitely do that, but there's almost this energy sometime with certain people within that law of attraction community that almost likes to sweep things under the rug. If it's not pleasant, you get that toxic positivity. And so sometimes people with that mentality might say, she made herself stronger by fighting with the wind. I read that as stranger at first because it actually is stronger by fighting with the wind. It's actually, some people will see that and say, oh God, what is she doing? She's not doing the path of least resistance. What's the matter with her? Well, that's very privileged for some people. Some people do come out stronger by fighting with the wind. A lot of people, I feel like, are coming out of a cycle where they've been fighting with the wind for a long time, but you are going to harvest something good from making all of that effort to fight out of a bad situation. Some of us do have to close cycles of toxicity in our lives, and that is what that South Node is talking about. So yeah, focus on bringing in the positive, believing that good blessings are still possible. Definitely attract those things for yourself, manifest those things for yourself. It's okay to fight with the wind if you're being blown in a direction that you know is the wrong direction. Let's just put it that way. So there's definitely individual karma, there's collective karma as well, and people who are paying attention to that know that it's time to really get on the lifeboat, so to speak. Really change your direction. Really fight against the bad winds and go towards something better. And so this is that manifesting, right? So it's interesting that the springtime sunshine and rain is right between, optimism and pessimism. It's right between she made herself stronger by fighting with the wind, and also you can draw water out of water well, so I should think you could draw a treacle out of a treacle well, stupid. It's this very Neptunian, very psychedelic world, this underworld, this wonderland of Alice's, and obviously there's no such thing as a treacle well. And so she's like, what do you mean a treacle well? And it's like, believe in miracles, right? Believe that the Red Sea can turn red and can be parted, since we're talking about Ashura and the celebration of Moses escaping, and Moses and his people escaping slavery. If you have faith as big as a mustard seed, you can move a mountain, right? Obviously, these things are not literally physical. You're not going to physically move a whole mountain 1,000 miles with the snap of a finger, but you can notice there's been carvings in mountains. Mount Rushmore, that Sphinx we were talking about, may have been a mountain. It may have been something else. It may have been, there's arguments about how it was constructed, or some kind of hill or something. It's on a surface that doesn't seem to look like it's part of any geographic landscape like that, but there's argument about how on earth did these people construct such a thing. Impossible things become possible all the time for people who believe in themselves enough, right? So there's that Leo energy for you. And then we have the dark. I think this is again about closing out a dark toxic cycle, since we're talking about that Scorpio South Node. Again, Scorpio is a really wonderful sign with a lot of positive qualities, but with the South Node, we're really seeing how with the past energy, with the Scorpio South Node, we're reaping the rewards of really badly planted, not very healthy seeds on a societal level. So I'm saying, plant good seeds for yourself and be proud of yourself if you've been in an environment where maybe you grew up where others who planted seeds before you could created a bit of a toxic environment. And if you've been walking out of that, if that doesn't resonate for you at all, and you're not in any toxic situation, you never have been, that's fine. And that's why that felt simple. We have like this little snake dragon thing here and a little like kind of retro airplane flying away from it and over a mountain here. And I really like sea serpents and, the Ouroboros and Ouroboros, or however you say that, Jormungandr, different cultures have these sea serpents. They're often very spiritually significant, good figures, but it's kind of like saying it is dangerous. And you need to, just like how Scorpio has its good qualities, but it can be a very dangerous energy if it's not handled correctly, and it hasn't been handled correctly on a societal level. In certain family systems or social environments, it hasn't been handled correctly, and this person is really flying away from it. And I think with the Chariot and Taurus opposite that South Node card, we really are seeing people walking away from toxic situations and saying, nope, I'm starting anew somewhere else. I think that is very much the gate that is being opened for us in this Lionsgate portal, this opportunity to start a better life for ourselves and go in the right direction. That is where I will leave this reading because it has already been very long. Thank you guys so much for sticking around with me. I know it's been a little while since I posted a video, since I needed some time off, but I'm really glad it was for the Lionsgate that I decided to make a new one, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your month.